Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we are looking at the CURT Premium Bike Rack here on our 2021 Hyundai Tucson. Now, the CURT Premium Bike Rack is one of my favorites when it comes to family-friendly bike racks because of the way it's designed. Unlike other bike racks, especially hanging ones, where it's kind of difficult to maneuver your smaller children's bikes through the cradles, this has a tapered end just for that. Now let's take a look at the way our bike is mounted to the bike rack. We have 2 straps here at the top, and then we have a third strap here at the bottom, working kind of as our anti-sway strap. So when you want to take your bike rack off, that's where you would start. You pull out on this strap and feed it through that tab. So there's 1 strap, 2 straps, 3 straps, and just like that, you lift up on your bike, feed it through the arms, and you're ready to go on a bike ride. With the bike out of the way, let's take a close look at those cradles. So these have hard plastic cradles, not as cushy as maybe your other more premium hanging racks, but they make up for it with versatility. So you can turn these cradles to accommodate frames of different shapes and different sizes. They have these strong rubber straps. Now those straps take a little bit of muscle to fit over your frame, but I kind of like that design because I think it makes for a bit more of a secure fit. If you've noticed, there's 2 cradles here towards the back, and that's going to be great for like your adult bikes because of how far they are apart. And then this tapers towards the end, and that's great for children's bikes that don't need that much distance in order to secure the frame. Note, you still may need a frame adapter bar though, just because that's needed to keep them level, but they'll still fit. And at the very end, you have these nice red plastic reflectors just to keep you safe on the road as you're driving around. This bike rack has a weight capacity of 180 pounds for the 4-bike version, which I have here, and 225 pounds for the 5-bike version. So the 5-bike version looks exactly the same, just a little bit longer, and has that weight capacity. Still, both of them have even more weight capacity than your regular hanging style rack. One of the features of this bike rack is that it can tilt away. And to do so is a little bit of a process, but I'll guide you through it. The first thing you need to do is to loosen this knob, and this is holding your mast in place. Once that's loosened, you can then pull out this pin or this clip, which allows you to pull out this pin. And the final step is to lift up on this lever, and that allows the mast to drop down to a tilt. And you'll want to do this if you want to access your hatch. As you can see here on our Tucson, there is so much space between the door and the mast, allowing you to get into your trunk, maybe grab your bags, your water, your helmets, without having to completely uninstall the bike rack. Now you can only do this with the bikes off though, so just remember that you still need to dismount your bikes, but at least it saves you that extra step. To bring it back into place, you just fit it over that hole, that lever immediately drops down, and then you put this pin through. You may need to wiggle around that bike rack to find that best fit, and then use this clip to secure it, and finally use this knob to tighten down on that mast. And once that is in place, we get a look at the next feature of the bike rack, which is to fold down the arms. But before we do so, remember, when you do have a bike rack on your vehicle, there is some length added to the back of it. So with the arms out, measuring from our bumper to the end of the bike rack where those nice reflectors were, this sits at about 36 inches right there, and that's a decent length for a 4-bike rack. And then when you fold the arms down just like that, pull that clip, then pull out that pin, make sure it doesn't swing back, then secure it with that pin and clip you just took out. That's going to move this bike rack into the more portable position. So with that in place, right there, you can see the big difference it is in terms of length. Let's take some measurements again. Measuring from that bumper to the end of the bike rack where the cradles are, it sits at 10 inches. And right there at the end of the shank, it sits at 11 inches. So as for closest point between the bike rack and our vehicle, it would be by the bumper to that knob, and you have a clearance of 3 3/4 inches. No worries at all about this making contact with your car when you're driving around. But let's also take a look at how it works with the vehicle folded up like this. So you can see here our tail lights are completely clear. It does come a little bit up towards your rear window, but you have that mainly open. One thing though is that your backup camera is slightly offset towards your driver's side, but it does also cover it. It's okay for this vehicle because it has that 360 view, but you're still definitely going to see it in your rear view camera. And this does come in front of our license plate a little bit, but not as much as our larger platform racks. So just keep that in mind as you're driving around in case you're worried about covering any of those lights or plates. Let's talk about how this fits into our hitch. So this has a 2-inch solid shank, and it comes with an anti-rattle bolt and a pin. I recommend picking up a socket wrench with a 3/4 socket, although it does come with an included tool, but that would make it a lot easier to tighten that down. But with that anti-rattle bolt tightened down, you can see as I shake the bike rack right there, I'm mainly shaking that shank and the vehicle. So that means as your bikes are on the road and they do experience rattle, that will be from the ground and not as much from that contact between the two, making for a smoother ride for your bikes. Alright, so my final thoughts about this bike rack is I love the way it's shaped when it comes to carrying 2 adult bikes and 2 or 3 children's bikes. Now this is a hanging rack. If you have carbon fiber frame bikes or maybe your heavy electric bikes, this might not be the best fit. But if you just have a bicycle to go on the trail with or through the city, you might enjoy this bike rack. It works well here with our vehicle, and it doesn't really obstruct any of our cameras, which is always a plus. So that was a look at the CURT Premium Bike Rack here on our 2021 Hyundai Tucson.